Thanks for staying with us. Since the beginning of the pandemic, business owners have faced very stressful challenges. The latest challenges are record high inflation, driving up the cost of items across the board. To talk more about this, I'm joined by Mary Eisbister, who is the owner of GenMet Corp. Mary, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. So your steel fabricating business, how does inflation alone affect your operations? I'm thinking the steel, definitely.
Oh, most definitely. And it comes in a couple of different ways. So supply chain issues have resulted in much higher raw material costs. We are getting lots of increased costs from our subcontract activities, everything from paint to machining, and wage inflation. Always happy to pay great team members good wages, but it is truly accelerated beyond what we had originally forecasted. And with those increased prices across the board, something has to give.
So what's exactly causing your loss? Like, the fact that you're losing some of this and the inflation's going up. What locations are you getting these items from?
Uh, so in terms of supply chain, raw materials, it's a little bit of everywhere. Mostly steel that comes from, we buy primarily locally, but that challenges with materials, raw materials in particular, started back at the beginning of last year. And the supply chain challenges as a result of the pandemic and then all of the fallout from that really began that acceleration of steel prices. Then there were shipping issues, transportation issues and energy costs now especially are adding to the cost of getting the materials to us, which overall adds to the cost of the final products that we provide. And many of our suppliers have just put across the board increases in anywhere from 7 to 11%. And understandably, their raw material cost has gone up as well. And we've had to try to be creative in terms of how we manage those increased costs. We chose not to do an across the board increase to our customers, but to look for productivity improvements in other ways to stay competitive and try to mitigate those increases to our end customers.
Interesting. That was my next question. With the fact that you have, the inflation, it has to go to the customers, right? There really is no choice.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
So as prices increase, then prices increase, and then prices increase. And at the end of the day, I think being the best partner with our customers, we look for ways to mitigate those increases. And what we've done, I was telling someone the other day that we have basically erased multiple years of lean manufacturing where we used to have just-in-time inventory, and we now hold a much larger amount of inventory so that we can get a lower price buying at a higher quantity. It also helps us to make sure we have stock since the supply chain challenges reduce our potential to be able to acquire the material. So it's challenged us to be a lot more creative. And I think you said that in your introduction.
Right.
We're finding ways to do things differently so that it isn't just a pass through, because at some point that cycle doesn't end if we just each keep passing through the cost to the next step in the chain.
Right. So you were talking about the fact that the wage increases have gone up a lot. These are specialized positions. We were just showing some welding that you do in your facility. So how are you competing with others? Every industry is affected by that, right?
Most definitely. And I think the first and foremost thing is that we have a fantastic team. Not only are they specialized in their skills, but they are special people. And I think it's for our team members, it is not just an increase in wage, but it's also knowing that they have a very secure long-term future with us. In the 22 years that I've owned the business, we have never laid off a single person, including during the worst recessions and the most recent pandemic.
Very honorable.
Thank you. It's a commitment, and I think it goes both ways. But most certainly, as inflation hits every part of our economy, food, gas, things like that. We have to help by increasing our wages. And again, we typically have on average a 3 to 5% increase annually for performance evaluations. That's increased because we need to help make sure that we are keeping our team members able to support themselves in the way they have in the past. And probably the wage increases are the most difficult to find ways to work around. But the way that we're managing it is just finding ways to be more productive. So an hour of work, although costs more, hopefully produces more on the other side.
Exactly. Mary Isbister with GenMet Corp in Mequon. I appreciate it. And girl power to owning a business to you. Thank you for joining us at 4. Hey, we're continuing to keep inflation on our radar, including what prices are like for essential items like eggs, ground beef, and milk for family at your grocery store. All you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will bring you directly to our TMG4 price tracker. We're updating those prices tomorrow afternoon for you. Keep an eye out for that.